Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. Brought to you by First Community. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday. It's our Friday tradition here from Half Coast Studios. Big show for you once again today. Listen, we just had the lottery and everything, and I know everyone wants to get into the draft. Just be patient with me. We're going to get into the draft. We've got plenty of time to do that. The draft isn't until late June. But, earlier this week, I was talking to Ľuboš Bartečko. I've known Ľuboš for a long time. He's been a good friend of mine. Big fan of him. Great family. And I was coaching with Ľuboš at the time when Jakub Dobes came over to our AAA Blues program here in St. Louis. And we were chatting. I'm like, man, we got to have you on, and you got to tell the story with Dobes obviously getting a lot of attention, beating Tampa Bay in the first round, and then now, battling Buffalo here in round 2 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Things didn't go Montreal's way, but that could have been a little bit of a hangover from round 1. We'll see how they do coming up in the second game of the series against the Sabres. Sabres have good players, though. Rasmus Dahlin on the back end, named a finalist as a Norris Trophy finalist, along with Cale Makar and Zach Werenski. Who do you like as a Norris finalist? Werenski, obviously, he was the clubhouse leader much of the season. The team struggled. They didn't make the playoffs. Will that matter? Cale Makar, we all know he's the best defenseman in the league. And, anytime you want to give it to him, no one's going to have a real problem with that. Although there's other players who aren't finalists that have better offensive years than him and better defensive years than him. Where do you stand on having 2 trophies for defensemen, postseason awards? One that goes to a defensive defenseman, one goes to an offensive defenseman. I'm going to ask Jamal Mayers about that. We'll talk to him about that coming up later in the show. But the Blues do have 3 first-round picks. They stay at number 11. They stay at 15. Toronto somehow gets up to number 1. Listen, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I guess about some things I like a good conspiracy. I certainly like this one, too. I just don't think it's possible. The entire credibility of the league would be in question. Would they really be this dumb? I mean, listen, it makes you wonder. Pittsburgh gets Crosby when that franchise was about to move out of Pittsburgh. They had some real issues, so he saved that team. You look at last season or a couple of years ago with Macklin Celebrini going to San Jose. We all know that he had roots in San Jose and his family's there. So there's been plenty of situations where you just wonder. Toronto has one of the worst press conferences in NHL history. Terrible press conference. And then the next day, everything shifts. They get the first overall pick. They win the lottery. Now all the media is saying, hey, give Chaika a chance. I said before the press conference, I said, I love the fact that Toronto's kind of going against the grain. And nobody had a problem when they hired Brad Treliving. I mean, it wasn't like Treliving was some, top-tier general manager. He had experience, and he had been in the league. That's the biggest difference. I don't know how you come to hiring John Chaika, but it is what it is, and we'll see how he does. But I did like the fact that they kind of didn't do just the popular, sway with the wind. What's the popular vote saying? Go with an experienced recycled guy. No, we're going to go with the guy that we want. And it's not just Keith Pelly. I know everyone's focusing on Keith Pelly, and listen, he's putting himself up there. Like, he probably should stop doing that. No more press conferences for Keith Pelly. Stop putting yourself up there and just kind of stay in the background. But he's listening to people like Matt Sundin. He says Ty Domi didn't have really any say in it in terms of the decision. Now, you can take that for however you want. If you want to believe that, fine. If you don't want to believe it, that's okay too. But I would imagine he had plenty of people in his ear that were pulling for Chaika or recommending Chaika. Is it Chaika? Is it Chaika? I always call him Chaika. But anyway, not enough people internally with Toronto were probably pushing for him. And that's how we ultimately got here. So how he does remains to be seen. He may be terrible. He may be great. Who knows? But he's off to a good start. Whenever you get a potential franchise player, then that could certainly change things. Now, does it change the opinion of Austin Matthews? That's the big question. I don't think this is out there or not, but I can tell you with certainty that Chaika and Craig Berube have Matthews and Craig Berube have a very good relationship. They get along very well. And this is not coming from Craig Berube. I've never asked Craig Berube, do you get along with Austin Matthews? But I have asked people close to Matthews, does he like Craig Berube? And the answer has always been yes. I don't know if he loves playing there anymore. I think he wants to change. I think he wants to go play with different players, give himself a better chance to win. Does bringing in the first overall pick help? Maybe a little bit. I don't know if it helps as much as how people are assuming. I mean, he's 18 years old. I don't look at Gavin McKenna, and let's just presume that he's going to be the first overall pick. I don't put him in the same category as a Crosby or a McDavid or a Celebrini or a McKinnon. I just don't. I don't think he's going to have that type of impact. Do I think he's going to have a long career and a very good career? Well, yeah, he should. He's going to be taken first overall. But I don't think he's at the level of the other four guys that I mentioned who can truly just completely change your franchise around in a very short period of time, as we've seen in San Jose. And in the case of Edmonton, with, McDavid taking that team to the Stanley Cup final a couple of times. But you got to have these top picks. Toronto now has 2 first overall picks in 10 years. It's just crazy to me. And they've had other picks where they've picked in the top 5 and whatever. So I don't know. I mean, the Blues have picked in the top 5 twice over the last 20, 30 years. And when they got Eric Johnson, they got Alex Pietrangelo. They took a couple of defensemen. San Jose is the one team that I would pay attention to that could potentially slide out of number 2, feeling they could still get a good quality defenseman, which is what they need, a little bit lower in the draft. Now, I don't know if they're going to want to slide out of the top 10 to get that defenseman that they want. I mean, the idea of trading 11 and 15 to get to number 2, to me, is unrealistic. I just don't see that happening. Could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong. For the Blues' sake, it'd be great to get to number 2, but to go from number 2 to 11, even though you're getting 15 attached to that, you'd have to include some other pieces in order for that to happen. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. Could the Blues package 11 and 15 to get into the top 10? Sure. I think you could. But I don't think you just go into the top 10 just to go into the top 10. There's got to be a real reason to do so, and a player that you identify as a guy that can really turn things around for this franchise. To move on from 2 first-round picks, you can get 2 really good players at 11 and 15. I remember when the Blues had 3 first-round picks back in 2007 when they took Lars Eller, then Ian Cole, and David Perron. All 3 guys went on to play. Is Cole at 1,000 games yet? I don't think he's at 1,000 games. Probably not, because when he was here, he never played. I remember just seeing him underneath during games, and he's just like working out for like 30 games straight. Couldn't get in the lineup. And then he goes on to Pittsburgh. I think it was a good trade for Pittsburgh against St. Louis. Pittsburgh got a player that obviously helped them win cups. St. Louis had a player that was here for a long time in Robert Bortuzzo. So you probably say, yeah, it's probably a win-win. I think if St. Louis had to do it over again, they probably would. And yeah, I think Pittsburgh 100% would, because Cole helped them win. But Bortuzzo was a good player, and he helped them win too. Both players got Stanley Cups. So I'll call that a win-win. But I'll be interested to see what the Blues do, and obviously there could be other ways to climb into the top 10 as well. And moving on from a roster player or 2 could help you get there. We'll see. Jakub Dobes has been a great story. Didn't play great in game 1, like I said, against Buffalo, but I remember this kid when he came here. I remember his brother when he came over to North America. They both came to St. Louis. Played at DeSmet High School. I think Dobes went to Chaminade his first year, actually, before he transferred to DeSmet. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he did. And, he was living with Bartečko, then living with his Bartečko's wife's brother, who also was over here. And they're from Slovakia, but obviously a lot of same connection. I'm going to let Ľuboš Bartečko tell the story in terms of how that plays out. I didn't really have much time. Actually, last week I kind of alluded to the fact that Dylan Holloway I thought would sign a 4 or 5 year deal, most likely a 5-year contract, somewhere in that $7 to $8 million range. I thought it'd be closer to $7.5. So good on him to get an extra couple $100,000 and get him to $7.75. I just think when you look at Broberg, I know they play different positions. He wasn't going to get to $8 million. That's where Broberg got on a 6-year contract. I think Holloway could have certainly got to 8+ on an 8-year deal, but there's no reason for him to sign 8 years when he hasn't been able to put together a full season. If this guy can put together a full season, stay healthy, then you could certainly make the case 5 years from now, when his contract is up, this guy's going to be in that $9.5 to $11 million range. I mean, based on where salaries are going to be. We'll see what his numbers look like. Could even be higher than that. I can't really tell what the ceiling is for um, Dylan Holloway, because even before he got hurt this year, he wasn't necessarily producing at a high clip. Um, but obviously after the Olympics, when he came back and he was healthy, man, this guy was the player that you expect him to be, and a player that we saw a lot last season as well. So good on him. Gets a 5-year deal. I thought that's a smart deal. Steals 2 years of unrestricted free agency, and still, allows him to get back to the drawing board at around 30 years of age, where he can still go get another contract. But health is going to be the big question. Some people would say I would just take the 8-year deal, even at $8 or $9 million, and just put that contract in my pocket, because you just never know what could happen. His next shift could be your last shift. I mean, we all know how things go down, but he's still getting life-changing money with this particular deal, getting 7.75 times 5. So a big shout out to Dylan Holloway, one of the best guys in the organization. Great, great player. Super, super talented. So fast, skilled, great shot, rink rat, no maintenance. And he's going to come and be ready to play every single night. A little bit surprised. I didn't ask anybody, so there may be a reason for it, why Jimmy Snuggerud isn't playing for Team USA at the World Championships. I thought that maybe he'd find himself to Switzerland. So for whatever reason, he's not going to go. So I don't know if he wasn't asked or if that is his choice. I honestly have not asked anybody about it, but I was kind of looking at the Team USA roster today. I knew Matthew Tkachuk was going to go. I was told that about a week ago that he was going to go. I think he wants to get to that triple gold club, where you win gold at the World Championships, win gold at the Olympics, and also win a Stanley Cup. Only a handful of players have ever done that. The number's growing, but, Tkachuk didn't play a whole lot this past season. Probably benefits him to go over there and play. You look at the roster, there's no real connection there to say, oh, he wants to go play with this guy or that guy and just go hang out. No, I think this is truly about hockey for Matthew Tkachuk. I was actually originally told that he wouldn't go over till later in the tournament. It wouldn't go over there at the very beginning. I don't think that's true. But big shout out to Chuck E. Cheese as he heads over to Switzerland to represent USA. So looking forward to the World Championships, man. Listen, that tournament means something. I think it gave USA Hockey a lot of life. I think the Four Nations gave the World Championships roster life, and that World Championship victory gave the Olympic team a little bit of life, man. USA Hockey obviously having a real strong 18 months or so. So good luck to Donnie Granaro. I had a chance to talk to Donnie a few days before they took off for their exhibition games. I think they had an exhibition game in Germany, maybe one other one before things get going for real. Sasha Barkov, by the way, played his first game of the season for Finland, an exhibition game. So he's back on the ice and he's playing and he's fully healthy, which is why the Florida Panthers are going to come back and be for real next year. There's no doubt that they will be. No question. So watch out for the Panthers next year. Tampa, I don't know what's going on with Tampa. We talked about it on the Canvas Strip podcast a lot, and we'll get Jamal Mayers' take on it as well. I just feel like they're missing something on their resume to truly go down as one of the all-time great runs in hockey history. I know they won the back-to-back cups, but it didn't feel like Pittsburgh's back-to-back championships or other teams who have gone back-to-back before, just because of the whole COVID mess. I'm not going to sit here and say if it was a traditional season that they wouldn't have won the Stanley Cup anyway, but it wasn't a traditional season. So when you win one Stanley Cup in the bubble, and then the next one is in a 56-game season, COVID out the wazoo, it's everywhere, and then you play in the Eastern Conference team in the Stanley Cup final. Some teams had fans in the stands. Some teams didn't. Just too goofy for me. I really need to see Tampa win one in an 82 game season. I guess now 84 game season, and a full 4 rounds of playoffs, much like you see in a traditional season from Tampa Bay. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk some Springfield Thunderbirds. Now, this uh, Georgi Romanov. Now, let me just explain a few things. Georgi, some people call him Georgie, Georgi. It's Georgi, right? Romanov. Played games for San Jose several years ago. Good goaltender. Actually came up and practiced with the Blues right after the Olympics or during the Olympic break before Jordan Binnington returned. And I will say that there was some talk about maybe some issues with him down in Springfield. Work habits, attitude, effort, practice habits, all of that. To the point where when the playoffs began, he wasn't even a backup goaltender. He wasn't starting, wasn't the backup guy. Will Cranley was kind of the guy down the stretch who was getting a lot of the attention. And Zarenko was a guy who obviously, was getting some opportunities. But Romanov really wasn't in the mix until he was. And essentially won that first-round series for them. When he got in, they just never looked back against Charlotte. Great victory. And then to beat the team with the most points in the American Hockey League this season in Providence on the heels of some incredible goaltending. And this guy will find his way back into the National Hockey League next season, I would think. And maybe the Blues found their backup goalie for next year. Jordan Binnington's still here. I don't get the sense that Binnington wants to go anywhere. I've always said this about Binnington, that if he were to go anywhere, I think he'd want to go to Toronto. And I don't get the sense that the timing is right for Toronto. Maybe he's a little more excited about it when you consider they're getting the first overall pick, but they're not really in position to win. I would think that Jordan Binnington wants to be in an environment, if it's not St. Louis, in an environment that truly has a chance to win and win now. And that's why I just didn't feel like Toronto would make sense for him. I know people have brought up Edmonton and whatnot. I don't think he has any interest in going there. I think he could be there if he wanted to, and I think that wasn't in the cards for him to go to Edmonton. Toronto's a different story. Would they give him a contract extension? And is that something that he would maybe have more interest in now? I'm not sure. But regardless, if Romanov isn't here, he's going to be somewhere in the NHL next season, I would think, just based on what we've seen from him right now. But he's going to have to clear up some of that reputation. I think that's out there. And I think the way that he's doing it, the best way to change your reputation, if people on the outside have a negative perception of you, the best way to change your reputation is to stop the puck. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. And I know I've asked players down there, who is the best goaltender on that roster? And it's been consistent. Far and away, it's Romanov. And he looks like it. Wow. What a performance this guy is putting up. So Dylan Dubé, who, listen, he signed late. I think he only played, 47 games this season? But he had 20 goals in those 47 games. He's had an interesting career. He always had high expectations. There were times when he felt like he could reach those expectations, and he never really did. I think he signed a 3-year contract at one point in time with Calgary years ago. And then he had the off-ice issues before, being found not guilty, and he was, caught up in that whole situation with Hockey Canada. Carter Hart now back in the National Hockey League. He needs a contract extension this offseason as well with Vegas, but, he's looking like their number one goaltender, not only now, but into the future. He and Torts obviously know each other going back to Florida, or to Philly. And so they know each other. And he looks comfortable and whatever. I know they lost their last game against Anaheim, and who knows, they may not even get through this round and beat Anaheim. But nonetheless, got them through a round, and unless somebody just shows up on their doorstep, it looks like Carter Hart is going to be the guy, at least in the short term moving forward. But Dylan Dubé is a guy who looks like he's too good to play in the American League. He looks like an NHL player. I know he had to play. He went over to the KHL, played there for a little bit, And now the way that he's playing now, you can be sure that people are certainly taking notice with the guy who, if he didn't have his off-ice issues, he would most likely be in the National Hockey League today. I don't think there's any question. So I'll catch up with his camp in the near future. Maybe we'll have an update on that next week. But a big shout out to Steve Ott, man. Love seeing his post-game locker room speeches and everything they've got going on right now. I think it's great for the organization, great for guys like Stenberg, who's getting a lot of experience right now. Some other guys. Jurasek is down there. We talked about Jurasek getting to Springfield, so he plays his first professional game yesterday. Carbonell played his first professional game. Nobody scored a goal in the game until overtime when Dubé scored. But I think Carbonell had like 3 shots on goal. By all accounts, Jurasek played fine. Had that big open ice hit. You probably saw it on Twitter. It's all over social media. So it's great to see those guys getting experience right now. No Theo Lindstein in the lineup last night. He's dealing with something. Kaskamaki's dealing with a lower body injury, so he didn't play either. Peterson didn't play. So they're without some key players, and they still found a way to win. But Romanov, 37 saves, shutout. Big shout out to him, man. This guy has been fantastic. It's interesting, too, because he didn't play for several weeks prior to getting into the lineup in that first-round series against Charlotte. I think his last start was like March 12th or March 15th, something crazy. And then he played on April 15th in that first round, I believe. Or maybe his last game was April 12th or April 15th in the regular season. I think the regular season was over by then. But nonetheless, he went a long time without playing. But his last regular season game was against Providence, and I think he allowed 1 goal, had a ton of saves in the game, saw a lot of shots, and he was the difference. They lost, actually, in that game, 1-0. So his team didn't give him much run support in that game. Didn't give him much last night either, but all he needed was 1, and they got it, man. So big shout out to him. All right, let's get ready for Ľuboš Bartečko. Looking forward to this conversation. Played for the Blues, played in several Olympics with Slovakia, with Dimitra and Hanzus and Gaborik and Hossa and all these guys, Chara. So he's going to have some great stories to tell. Looking forward to that conversation coming up. All right, you probably heard that mortgage rates have gone up. Bad news for anyone ready to buy a home. So what do you do? What do you do? What kind of home loan is best? Most would say a 30-year term to keep their payments affordable, along with a great rate and low closing costs. First Community has that loan for you right now. It's called the Members Best Home Loan. Has a rate of 6% for a 30-year term. First Community, listen, no fee for the application, no fee for the processing, no fee for the closing of your home either. So all those fees out the window. Apply today for the Members Best Home Loan. Terms and conditions apply. Toll free. You can call them right now. 1-888-642-7969. 888-642-7969 to learn more. FirstCommunity.com. That's the website. First Community brings us hockey sense each and every week. Lordo's Diamonds. Been around for almost 70 years. Go see Mike and Jimmy Lordo today. Best selection of engagement rings, men's jewelry, great watches, great chains. Hey, you want to get a chain, you want to get a watch, you can go there and check that out. But get that special someone something special in your life. Incredible jewelry and incredible experts, too, who will help you out. I bought my wife something from there pretty much every year for the last several years. I love it. Wouldn't go anywhere else but Lordo's Diamonds. They're truly the best at what they do. Best customer service. You can go in there with a $500,000 budget or a $500 budget. And guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same. They won't change. No judgment zone. Judge-free zone over there at Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com. We love our friends over there at Lordo's Diamonds. Blue Note Roofing, baby. 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today. He's standing by. You have wind or hail damage, any type of storm damage. You need a new roof, gutters, soffit, fascia, whatever it is you need. Call him today. 314-920-5713 for Blue Note Roofing. David Novak. He'll talk pucks with you as well. One of my favorites. David Novak, give him a shout. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Find the location nearest you. If you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location, use the promo code BluesHockey. You're going to get free delivery. Go to the website right now. Check it out. Get the app. That's where you get all the information on that free delivery. And they've got a bunch of deals on there. The deals are so good they call them steals, but it's incredible. Best selection of beer, wine, and booze you'll find anywhere. They've got cigars. They've got that walk-in beer cooler. Don't sleep on the party supplies. If you've got graduation parties coming up, get everything you need. It's your one-stop party shop, baby. Over there at Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. The Wallace family taking St. Louis to the next level. One Dirt Cheap location at a time. And we love our friends over there at Dirt Cheap. And Easy Tiger Cannabis, baby. Elevate yourself with top shelf cannabis, no matter what your need is. Are you dealing with pain, sleep issues, any type of sickness? You just want to relax at home when you watch movies and TV? You can do that too. From edibles to flower, whatever it is you're looking for, they have it for you with EasyTigerAZ.com. Easy Tiger located in Arizona, soon to be nationwide. Best customer service, best products, best quality. EasyTigerAZ.com. That's Easy Tiger Cannabis. All right, let's step aside. Ľuboš Bartečko, former St. Louis Blue, longtime member of the Slovakian national team, and the guy who brought Jakub Dobes to North America. Yeah, that's right. Now doing his thing with the Montreal Canadiens. We'll talk to Ľuboš next. Stay with us here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Welcome, Ľuboš Bartečko, into Hockey Sense. You thought you could get away, but you just can't get away, Ľuboš. You know that.
I mean, thank you, but no, I cannot get away from good people like you. I mean, you can't, that's just how it is.
I love it. I love it, man. Listen, I got to know how you're doing. First off, family's good. Everybody's good. You live in Nashville now. And remind people why you came back to St. Louis once your career was done. Like, what brought you back here?
Well, I mean, St. Louis is a great city, first of all. And then, that's where I found my second half, my wife that, lived and, breathed in St. Louis. And ever since I, met her and married her, and we always spent summers in St. Louis, even during the off season. So when I retired, I moved back to St. Louis and that was my home ever since. And now we moved to Nashville and then we're here. We've been here for about 7 years now and we love it. So, but we always go back to St. Louis because that's where our family is. That's where my wife's family is from. And I love going back and, hanging out with you guys and, and it's been great.
Yeah. And so now you're in Nashville. You're still kicking it around in youth hockey, right? You got a lot going on there. Like, tell the people what you're doing from a youth hockey standpoint.
Yeah. So I got into youth hockey. I have a son who's not youth anymore. He's 22. He's playing college hockey here. So, but I still in youth hockey now here in Nashville, I had this opportunity and I'm I'm coaching junior hockey now. So like instead of youth, I started really enjoying this, 16 and in between 16 and 20 years old, because I feel like that's really, what I have passion about. And those guys are great. And, here we have junior team, which is the Red River Spartans. And we're in, tier 3 and tier 2 hockey, but like, I love being part of this and then helping those young kids kind of, get through all that youth junior hockey and help them, get ready for junior or college hockey.
All right. So where is Nashville right now as a youth hockey market? I mean, I know it's growing and they're developing more and more players. And there's a couple of organizations that we see on the AAA circuit. So where are we at now? You feel like it's getting better and better?
I think so. I think, Nashville is growing as a city. It's growing really, really fast. And I think, the, NHL Predators are doing really good job with their organization. They're very, very popular here. And I think the youth is getting into it a little bit better. I think it could be better. But I think, we have a lot of ex-NHL guys moving into Nashville, and then they're helping, with their kids and their kid getting in and into youth hockey and helping all the organizations here to grow it. So I think it's getting there. I think it could be better, but it's been really good.
Yeah. All right. Former Atlanta Thrasher, Ľuboš Bartečko. Great to have him on with us, as always. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I gotta love it. Hey, but of course, a St. Louis Blue as well. When you tell the kids that you played for the Thrashers, though, are they like, who? Like, what? Or they remember? I mean, it was a great team. You got a lot of great players that came through there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they get more. I get more not from Thrashers. I get more about the St. Louis Blues because being part of that organization back then, in that era, it's just been
Mm.
incredible because with all these Hall of Famers. I mean, Al McKinnon and Pronger. So like they ask a lot about that kind of stuff and like what we have done. And nowadays it's everything online, so they see everything and they see the videos and all that stuff. So, but here and there, I get sometimes parents coming in is like, oh yeah, I used to watch you when you were in Thrashers. With them in Atlanta, it was great. So I'm like, oh God, but it was awesome. So, it's always good to talk about all that stuff and the stories, but everything goes back to the blues.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And you guys won the President's Trophy your second year
Oh yeah.
here in 99, 2000. Real quick, because Pronger, he wrote a book in case you haven't seen, like it's called Earn
I've
It.
seen it. Oh yeah. I've seen it.
And
I've seen
yeah.
it.
And so, I mean, but that season though, 99, 2000, man, that was the first year that I covered the Blues. And my first year, like coming out of college and like really getting into it, going to the rink, like the second half of that season on a daily basis. And I was so excited when I was given a press pass for the entire playoff run, and it only lasted one series. I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna win the Stanley Cup," you know? That you look back on that, man, that's a missed opportunity, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. It was something that, for me as a player, like I was very young and that was very new to me as well. Like I had a lot to learn and I was pretty much nobody and I just got there, you know, um somehow and I kept going and had a good success. But as like for me, that was my first playoff run as well. And playing NHL playoffs, it's something completely different. So I have to say, like, I wasn't the player. And now I'm looking back into it and thinking about and when talking to the players about the experience, that I had and then trying to explain to them what the playoff experience is and what that really means and how do you win playoff games, right? So it's not just like you have a great run in during the season, but like playoffs, like you have to be focused different, almost, wired differently. And it's just like details comes in and if you're not doing the right things and if you're not prepared mentally and physically, and then you're just not going to be successful. So for us, I think we had great team. Like I'm not gonna lie, like we had really good team, and I felt that we were gonna go a little bit further than the first round, but it just sometimes it just doesn't work that way, and nowadays like I'm watching playoffs, it's almost like a completely different league.
Yeah.
Like you're looking in those teams, so
Different
so it was
game.
frustrating, but for me, learning experience, and but it is what it is. But it was hard.
Yeah. So the Slovakian line, man, you guys got so much attention with Michael Handzus and Pavel Dimitra. I mean, what kind of chemistry did you guys have, Lubos? I mean, were you guys hanging out off the ice all the time, and that had to make you so comfortable as a young player to have so many of your fellow countrymen around on a daily basis for not just you, but also for Pavel and Handzus and other guys as well, man. You look back at that, you guys were unbelievable together. Did you guys realize you had something special? How long did it take you to figure that out?
I mean, it was something really, really special. Like like if I look back to it and like the chemistry and everything, it was not just on the ice, but also now I see it more clearly. Like if you really truly want to have a success, it's not just showing up, but you have to create that environment around yourself and surround yourself with people and hang out with them and be you know not just on the ice, but also off the ice. So like, and Paulo especially, and then Zeus, he was my age, and Pablo was more established, veteran, and but Pablo was so great doing all that, and like he helped me a lot with adjusting to the NHL, and helped me with the game, and I moved in with him my first year when I got here. I lived in a hotel for 2 months before I got the call, like, yeah, you can find the apartment. But he was like, why don't you go, and move in with me, so you don't have to live at the hotel, right? So like he helped in a lot of other aspects, not just me, but like he was just a great person, like overall, like he was awesome. So That was just, really important to us. And now I see like how important that was for, the line and for all of us to kind of like, you just can't just show up for practice. You have to put everything in it and, build it on and off the ice as well. So it was something special for me. It was living the dream because coming in, like young player from Slovakia, and then, Pavel was like, oh my gosh, he was our god, right? So it was just really I was living the dream and I was just trying to fit in and help any way I could. And I had success for a little bit, and I'm very thankful for that.
Even back then, he was a god to you guys in
Oh,
'99,
yeah.
2000 already.
Oh yeah, like I remember, it just you stuck to it. Like I remember my first year tryout for the Blues, and I was on the flight. We had like a bunch of Slovakian guys from my I drafted like I could see, but like I was on the flight sitting, and then like four rows behind was sitting Pavel, and he was like sitting back, and like he had no idea who I was, who we were, and just like and we were like little kids, like oh my god, that's Pavel, just like really it was something like oh yeah he was somebody, right? So that was something that it stuck with me. And then next thing you know, like a year later we're playing, or 2 years later we're playing in the same line, and then just like playing NHL, and just like it's awesome. So it was great time, like best times in
H-
St. Louis.
How was Joe Quenneville?
Joe was very, I learned, I tell everyone, like, Joe was the best coach that I've had, as far as coaching, like he knew how to take, he knew how to get everything out of you. Like he knew how to push you to the limit. And, he was not, if you played well, he put you out there, you were playing. But if you didn't play well, like he would let you know. And he was really good at that, managing the players. And, obviously like the practices I love his practice. And I still to this day I have kind of his system in a sense, like coaching, like practice for 45 minutes really hard, and I remember in my first training camp again, like came in and like I thought I was in good shape. And first practice after 30 minutes, I almost threw up on the bench. And it's just like, okay, but then you kind of get used to it. It's just like, well, you have to practice just like the way you play. So but Joel is great. Like I really had great experience, and I learned a lot from him, for me, young player, but like he was very, and this is what another thing I was telling, like I took with me, like he really knew how to get everything out of you, and he put a lot of pressure on you, but at the same time, if you had success, he let you play. You know what I mean? Like so it was great. I tell everyone he was the best coach that I've been around.
Yeah, I bet, man. So many great players on that. I could go down the roster. We could talk Al. We could talk Pierre Turgeon. We could talk
Oh
so,
yeah.
so many different people. I do want to talk about Jakub Dobes, man, because he's doing his thing here in uh, in North America with the Montreal Canadiens. And I listen. I'll never forget the conversation I had with you prior to him coming over when you told me this kid was coming over from the Czech Republic. And it never made sense to me because you were like, yeah, like he's got like national team ability. Like he's like at that level. But you didn't know a ton of about him either. You guys had a connection and you can tell the story, but I was thinking like I remember being like, I don't get like why this kid's coming to St. Louis if he's like a national team level goaltender. But sure enough, like you see him, he gets here and you're like, wow, this kid is like a really, really good goaltender. How did he get to St. Louis? Like, tell the people how that happened.
Oh, he's if you can write a movie about him, that would be a Cinderella story for him. But at the same time, like we were coaching 18 year, right? You, me, and Scott, and I got this call. We're getting ready for tryouts, right, in the summer, and I get this call. Like my former agent that he was representing me in Europe. He called me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, I got this kid. He's a national team player. He's in and out. There's something going on in Czech. Like he's not like he wants to come over. He wants to go to US. Like, do you think you can take a look at him? Like he's willing to go there and go for a tryout. If you don't like him, he'll come back. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I didn't really pay much attention to it. I just I felt like, well, he has to earn his spot. Like we're gonna I'm not telling you, like, I'm not promising you anything, but he just has to come here. It's like, yeah, no problem. He's going to come. All right, great. So he came in and, we were talking and it's like, yeah, I got this guy. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea how good he was. So when he was flying in, he flew in, he came here and that's where I called Bruce Receipt, right? And I was like, hey, Bruce, I got this kid. Because, goalie's goalie. Like, I tell goalies, stop the puck. That's it, right? Like, I don't know, really. So I called Bruce. I'm like, hey, do you mind coming out and just take a look at him and see your thought if he's, because I told him, like, if he's going to be about the same level as, we have guys here, then there's no way I'm going to, we're going to take him because, like, he has to be better than everyone else, right? So Bruce came in and, I remember like today we're standing behind the glass and like looking at him is like, he's legit. Like he's got everything and is like, yeah, he's going to be good. So that's where I remember talking to him. And, like I was talking to Scott and I was talking to Al and, that's how he kind of ended up. And, we took him and he was 16U, but we had him play 18 year, right? Because 16U already had goalies there. So
Yeah, Al
we took him
McInnes,
for
he had a
18.
D1 commit. He had Jack Williams,
Yes.
who was, considered one of the better goalies of his age group nationally at the time.
Oh, yeah.
He went to Notre Dame. So, yeah, it didn't make sense for Al to be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna put him here. We already have a guy. But the 18s needed a goalie, right?
Oh, yeah. So, and that's where he ended up. And, from there, it was just it's a history, right? So it was pretty interesting story for him. So, but, worked out really well and he took it. It was all about the opportunity.
Yeah. And so he lived with you, right?
Yeah, so he lived with us for a year. Then he, they were, I think the second year they were at because another Czech kid came in and they were going to Chaminade.
Mm-hmm.
So and then he lived with my wife's uncle. So, but basically he lived with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Man, it's crazy. So, like, when you see and he scored a goal playing midget hockey too. I tell people that all
Oh
the
yeah.
time. I'm like, "This guy scored a goal. I've never seen a midget goaltender ever score a goal." This guy
Oh
scored
yeah.
and over the top too. It was a nice goal that he scored, man. But he became instantly very popular with his teammates. He wanted to learn the language. He wanted to adapt himself into the North American culture. He still comes back to St. Louis. He loves it here. But when you see him doing what he's doing now, I mean, you never can forecast the future that you're going to be a starting goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens in the National Hockey League. But when you watch him play, um, what stands out, Lubos?
I mean, for me, it was very like we knew there was something there, right? Like we knew he had something like I remember we're playing, he was very, very good in penalty shots, period. Like there was nobody could score on penalty shots. So like when we would end up, the game, it was tied and overtime, nothing. And then we would go into penalty shots and I was like joking, like just we need to score one goal and we're gonna win the game. Like period. And that's how it was. Like he was very good in penalty shots. And then, he was just like every other. Like he was big. He moved really well. He had good games, he had bad games just like everyone else. But like the thing would stand out for me, for him, it was the work ethic that he had and passion for the game, right? Like he would not just practice with us, but he would always, you know, like I would go and coach, my son's team, which they were 2003 and they were like U14 or U15 back then. And we coached with, Jamie Rivers. And like he would always like, hey coach, can I go and skate with you guys? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So he would always come, even though he was 2 years older, whatever, playing for 18U, right? So he would be like skating with them and just like trying to be on the ice all the time and just like, doing his thing and working extra, asking for extra, always working, right? So like he was very focused in every game and like he just never really, how would I say, like he would always be like he always wanted to be in the net, right? So like,
Mm.
and if he had a bad game, there was, reset next day, next morning, and just go after it. So it's not, it's not about, yeah, he had a great opportunity, but the process that he gone through and I had conversation with his dad and, like just every parent, like his dad would be like, "Why isn't he, going NA? Why isn't he drafted? Why is he not?" I'm like, You have to be patient. It's a process." And like Jacob was very patient. He was not focused on like where he's going to be next year, where he's going to, he needs to like he only was focused on the process and work, right? And he just kept going, kept going. And, I knew there was going to be something about him. We didn't really know that, because you never know if the kid's going to go to the NHL, but he did it. He did it, not, anyone else. Like, it was just his work ethic, and he was just a great guy to be around. Like, he really, truly was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great story, man. I mean, and an unusual one, especially here in St. Louis, to get a European goalie who of his caliber who didn't really have a home. Like, so he couldn't find a team to play with in his native Czech Republic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the full story, but like maybe he could, but I think he really wanted to go to college. Like not really. Like he didn't like obviously he wanted to go to the NHL, and he knew if he would come here, he would get on the radar. And I've talked to him about like you kind of have to go, the college route because you don't have to be there for 4 years, but if you're good enough, you can play 1 year or 2 years or three, whatever, and then you can go, right? You never know. But that, level of hockey, that's where you're going to be, people are going to be watching. So you kind of have to get through that. And, and then he did. And, he went from NA to USHL to NCAA D1 and then, drafted and he's gone. And for him, it was just, we opened the doors for him and he just walked right through them and did it.
Yeah, I love it. I remember watching him at the Blues development camp too. 2019, the Blues had just won the cup. They actually had the development camp here in St. Louis, downtown at the Enterprise Center, and yeah, they didn't have much time to plan for it because they were obviously had that deep run and they played into late June and so he's there. They had a lot of local kids that participated in the camp that year, and but he was by far the best goaltender. But who knew? And then Montreal ends up drafting him and the rest is it. He had a great college career, so and great career in junior too. So I'm really happy for this kid, man. The way that he's evolved and he's going to continue to work to get better. Listen, people talk about him, how vocal he can be on the ice. He chirps the other team. He was getting into it, with some Tampa Bay players. Kucherov, I think, coming off the ice at the end of the period. Like he doesn't mind. He's always been like that too, right? He's like he'll get in your face if he needs to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was always like that. And I love when he like the way he plays the puck, right? Like he always wanted to be active. He always would want to go and play the puck and I was like, yeah, do it. Like, that's a big help. And like he knew because he watches the game. Like he was going to the games, like he sees, what the level of hockey needs and things like that. So he always wanted to do, to get better and to be all that. So like he worked a lot on that. And once he got into, Bruce Academy and like whatever, they were doing, like he got better, and now he's where he's at. But like chirping, he was always chirping. And the more he was getting comfortable with the English language, that's where the more stuff was coming, right? So when he came here first, it was just kind of like, okay, he didn't really speak much English, but he understood. But after, years and years, like he was getting very comfortable. And
Oh, I remember talking to him at the Mills. Like I mean, it was like a few months after we had a full on conversation. I mean, I couldn't believe how good his English was. In such a very short period of time. And his mom would come over, and I'd tell her that too. His brother eventually came over, so it was great stuff, man. How many Olympic games did you play in? Four?
so we were two, like three total, but first Olympic Games that when we were in Salt Lake City, we didn't make the main tournament. So I played only I played in Vancouver and Torino in Italy.
Well,
So
I mean, and with those great Slovakian teams with Chara and Hossa and Gaborik and Dimitra and Hansus and I mean Nagy, I can go on and on and on. You guys had such a great collection of talent. It's unbelievable that all you guys came up at the same time, Lubos.
I know it was awesome. Like it just, and again, it goes, I always talk about, and people are asking about the national team because, like the kids that when they come to, play for me, like we build a gym, we have gym and I have all my jerseys and all that stuff. So they're like, curious and actually funny story that last year, no, well, the last season during the Olympics, um, I had a Canadian guy and then we had a bet like if Slovakia will go, like he's gonna have to wear my Slovakian jersey during the practice, and he did. Because we went on and like so it was funny, but like it's funny when we go back to like our team, like how good that team was, and like you're always looking back, it's like why is that and now I'm thinking like it's we, like I said, with even in St. Louis, like we hung out together off ice. So like we were almost like for those 10 years run or whatever it was, like off season we went back and we would always see each other, like go to events. Like it was almost like we're like brothers, and it's just like that makes it so big difference in hockey and how you compete for each other, and they like, and then just like it was awesome. But those years are been like awesome. Like it was great.
Yeah. And Yarrow Halak was your goaltender too. He was my kid's coach actually a couple summers ago, so I got to
Yeah.
reconnect
He
with,
he came
with Yarrow.
he came in. He was a little bit younger, so but he came in after, and he was our goalie
Yeah.
as well, and so he was great and really nice kid, and like that's awesome. So we had I mean, looking back, like I think we had back in 2000, we had like 36 NHL players in
Wow.
NHL playing. So, one or at least one game, right? So like during the season. And now it's just like you're looking at like our team is just kind of like, slowing down. I don't know why, but
What
it's just
happened?
like
How
I,
do you
I
go?
have no
I
idea.
mean, how many Hall of Famers were on that team?
Oh God, like we had
Hossa,
yeah.
Chara.
I mean, yeah, it was just, it was every kid was somebody, right? So like every line, like I mean, it was Peter Blondra, right? Like Ziggy Palfy and like Joseph Stumple and Vishnowski, and all these guys. It was just like it was incredible. Like we could. This is why we had so much success, right? But
Who'd you
now I don't
who'd you
know. It's
play with
just
the most on and internationally? I'm sure it
so the
changed.
most I played with Miro Shatan
Yeah.
and Zeus. Because Powell, he was not, but like me, Shatan, and Zeus was a lot. But then, um, it was always different depending on who came in from NHL and all that stuff. So, but Zeus and Shatan, we had the most success.
Was the time was he wearing a turtleneck when you guys played together?
No, but he was awesome. Like
Great player.
great leader, great player, like really good guy.
Made a
And
lot of
like,
money too.
oh yeah, oh
He
yeah,
got paid.
he's awesome.
I love that, man. So amazing. But you played in Russia too. Like I'm looking it up to like you played with Ovi before Ovi ever came to the National
Oh
Hockey
yeah,
League and Datsuk
yeah.
and Maxim Afinogenov, like all on the same team. This is during the lockout in 2004, 2005. Loaded team. I mean,
Oh yeah.
how was Ovi at 18 years old or whatever he was?
Oh God, he was. We didn't know we knew he was going to be drafted. We knew he was going to be good, but we didn't know he was going to be the best goal scorer, right? But he was just such a like in the locker room. We said like it was me, and then right across from me it was Pavel Datsuk, and Ovechkin was right next to it. So like we would communicate and talk during the before practice, and like so it was great. All of them were great. Like Pavel was just incredible person, and like the work ethic that he had, I've never really seen anybody work as much as he did. But Ovechkin was like very young and like always coming in and wearing Gucci everything and like all that. So but he was great. He was like playing the same way as he was, and he just didn't care, and but he knew who he was, he knew his qualities, and he was just going with it, right? And but he was very Russian.
Yeah, I bet. And just crushing guys and
Oh
scoring
yeah.
goals.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Datsuk
But
though he's a different animal though. Would you just like
he's
practicing with that guy had to be incredible.
oh, like it was funny that every morning I would come in the dressing room, like it was always like I would be one of the first guys in there in a sense. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, 3 minutes later, like he comes down from the gym, like just drenched, like every day, like, because he was a little bit injured before, so he didn't start the season with us, but like he was a little bit injured, but he would come in drenched every. I'm like, what are you doing, Pasha? He's like, just riding the bike. He would ride the bike before every single practice, like hard, every single practice. Then would go into practice and just absolutely school everyone. So like we're sitting in practice and it would be like a show, like entertainment, right? Like with his moves and all that stuff. It was amazing. And everyone was like just like we won the league. And I used to tell everyone he won the league. He won the league for us. So but it was a great experience, really good to see all these guys. Like we had a really good team and I liked the coaching as well. Like he was really hard, a lot of training, but you know what? We were in good shape. Like
Yeah.
I tell everyone the story, like after the season, we've gone the first round, 3-0, like absolutely, like won. So we had like 3 days or 4 days before the next round. And so he gave us day off. And the next day we come in and there's, on the board, there's two teams. Like this team's going to go on the ice. The other team's going to go to the gym. I didn't really think of it much, right? Like it's the playoffs and we're splitting and, we went on the ice, first got on the ice, did like 5-minute warm up or whatever, took all the pucks away. And then we had weighted vests on the bench. Everyone put weighted vests and we skated for 45 minutes. Just skated, no pucks. And then after that, went into gym, did the gym work, and then 30 minutes run outside.
Wow.
So just like constant work, right? And I was just talking to, Paulo, I'm like, you guys, don't you say anything? Or, like, I mean, it's a play. I was like, no, it's like they just went with it. And we did. So it was awesome. It was great, great run. And it was good.
Could you imagine doing that with kids today? Like an NHL team.
Oh God.
NHL
Not
PA
even-
on line one, please.
Yeah, but I mean, they know. Like I think NHL now is like those kids. Like they know what you have to do because
They're
the
locked
the
in.
league's getting younger and all the kids are coming ready. So like they know if you don't do what you're supposed to do, like you're gonna be replaced really really fast. And so
Yeah. All right. And your son, it's funny because when you were talking about how Dobes would come practice with your son's team, because your son would come practice with us all the time with the 18s.
yeah,
I remember giving him shots for him to tip. He always had great hand-eye coordination. And it's funny, now that he's in college, he's playing for Alaska this year. That's where he's headed, right?
yes.
Okay. Tell him I say hello. And
Oh, I will.
I
Thank
taught
you.
him everything he knows. He knows that.
Oh yeah. Oh, he knows that. Yeah.
Are you okay? Have you gotten over the fact that I would own you in our pickup hockey games or what?
Oh yeah. That's why I'm not going to the skates as much as I used to. But I was talking to Robbie and he's like, you got to come out and skate with the alumni. I'm like, I got to do that and because I want to skate with Strick and I just want to get on him.
So
So,
dirty, man.
oh
Player
yeah.
safety would have heard from you. You know that?
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, man, all the best. I'm so glad we caught up. Do you ever come back to St. Louis?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
All right, hit me up when you come back.
I will.
Okay.
Will do.
Don't forget, and I'll see you. We're in Nashville, obviously, a couple times a year too. So, how close are you to downtown? Are you a ways away from there?
No, like I'm 20 minutes, but I go to the games every now and then. And when Blues were in town, I was there. So like,
Really? Okay.
yeah, if you're in there, just
Yeah.
text me and I'll pop up.
Okay. We'll do it, man. All right, Lou. It's always great to see you, man. We'll be in touch.
Straight always great to see you. Thank you for having me here.
All right, buddy. Talk
All right.
soon.
Talk soon. Bye.
Great stuff with Ľuboš Bartečko. All right. As always, brought to you by First Community. Again, First Community. So many different options with all the different loans you can get right now. They got that new location in Tesson Ferry, so check that out. They got a vacation club account. So, I mean, you can get your own credit card. And if you want to play now and then pay later, you can do that with a vacation loan at First Community. A rate of 7.9%, which you may think I'm making that up, but I'm not. So the average credit card rate is 20%. Be careful using your credit card, by the way. I mean, 20%, you got to be kidding me. So thinking ahead, you can open your First Community Vacation Club account now, and then this time next year, you'll have all the money saved up for your vacation. That's brilliant. Do that. First Community. All right, Jamal Mayers is next. We'll step aside. Jammer in studio. Stay with us here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. All right, Jamal Mayers now with us. His weekly visit. We just had Ľuboš Bartečko on.
Ľuboš.
Your former teammate.
What's he doing?
He's in Nashville, running hockey.
Yes.
Coaching, I think, like a lower level junior team up there, like a tier 2 team maybe.
Wow.
They might be called the Spartans. His son's playing at University of Alaska, going to Alaska this year.
Wow.
Dominic, if you remember Dominic.
I remember him.
2003. And he was at Mercyhurst. I guess they folded the program out of nowhere.
I didn't know that. I knew that, but
Yeah,
I didn't know he was
there.
That stinks.
Yeah. So, but we had a great conversation. But he's the one who brought Jakub Dobes to St. Louis,
Wow.
and so that was a lot of our conversation. Like Dobes obviously doing his thing right now with Montreal, and I'll never forget Ľuboš telling me that, hey, I got this kid coming to tryouts who's coming from the Czech Republic, and he's like national team caliber. I'm like, for what nation? He's like, for Czech Republic. I'm like, why is he coming to St. Louis? He's like, he doesn't have anyone to play this year. And it got late and whatever, and his dad wants him to come to North America, and he wants to come to the States. So they had the same agent, Ľuboš, and the agent who was advising Dobes was also the agent for Bartečko, who had just retired, basically.
Wow.
And so he's like, yeah, I'm actually coaching with a AAA team here in St. Louis. He should come to tryouts. He had Bruce Racine come to the tryout. First tryout, he's like, yeah, this kid's legit. 6'4", like he's really good. He could have played U16. He wanted to play U16. But Al McInnes was coaching the 16s, and he already had a goalie. It's like late in the process. He's not just going to kick somebody aside.
Right.
And back then, we still have that a little bit here in St. Louis, but it was even more so then. It was like, we didn't bring very many kids from outside St. Louis. Hardly ever.
Well, they're doing it now.
They're doing it now. But we didn't used to do it. We took a lot of pride in, like, our team was always homegrown talent. It was always St. Louis. Things have changed a little bit now, and I get that. But so he played at U18, and he was unbelievable for it. He scored a goal. I remember in midget hockey. I'd never seen a goalie score a goal in midget hockey. And now he's the number 1 goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, which is crazy.
Oh, a great story.
Yeah. So Ľuboš, great guy. Play with some great players, though, man. Play with Ovi and Datsuk during the lockout in 04-05 for a full season in the KHL, yeah.
Nice.
All those great Slovaks. They had some great players, man, like Hossa and all these guys who you obviously know.
Yes.
Hossa the best player you ever played with?
Best player?
I don't know. Who? All-around player. I mean, you could say Kane, you could say Pronger, McInnes, whatever. You played with Joe Thornton. Like, you played with some
Jerome
McGinley.
Yeah, I mean,
did you play with Mats or no?
No.
Who was the best? Who was the big dog in Toronto when you were there?
Well, we didn't really have
You
one.
didn't have
Phil.
Phil Kessel, okay.
So, like, at the end of the day, honestly, Haas was probably the most underrated player that I ever played with. Dominated the game on both sides.
Yeah.
Should have won Selke several
won one?
times. I think because he was a winger.
Oh.
But, like, just a salt of the earth human. I probably told this story before. We're my first practice, we're doing like a battle drill. And I'm pretty strong. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go against host. And Kitch set it up so I go against host.
This is in Chicago.
Yeah. And I could not get the puck away from him.
Really?
And it was like,
Is that the worst feeling?
it's like I was 10 years old and he was just toying with me. And Kitch was laughing because he knew that was going to happen. And yeah, just a great person, great teammate. And, a guy with huge stones. Think about what he did. Went to the final, changed teams. Went to the final again the next year, changed teams. Like,
I know,
who
3
does
years
that?
in a row.
Yes.
And ended up winning 3 cups, right? He was there for all 3 of them.
Yes. And you don't win without
He
him.
lost in Detroit and in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. In the final.
And I think they played each other. Like,
Yes.
Did they play each other both years?
No. The second year.
Because
So Detroit, I'm not sure who they played. Then he switched to, I think it was Pittsburgh or either way.
I think they lost
they
to
played
Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, it was pretty.
When he lost, the team he joined the second is the team he lost to the first year.
Well, it
that he
just
lost.
makes it even more.
He played a lot of playoff games. I should look up how many playoff games he played.
It's just really impressive, like, to have the stones to do that.
What do you think of the Norris Trophy finalists? Did you see?
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I had McCarr, and a lot of people don't think he was very good defensively this year. But, I think obviously you wonder if you're an Edmonton fan, you're disappointed. And I think it's kind of unfair, if I'm being honest. I don't know who you leave out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you leave Werenski out only because they didn't make the playoffs.
I know.
But how rare is it that you have 4 guys that legitimately deserve an opportunity to be nominated? Somebody gets
Yeah,
left
but
out.
maybe 5. They don't even have Quinn Hughes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's unfair, if I'm going to be honest, that Bouchard was left off if we're going to give it to Carlson, right? Which wasn't too long ago,
When he had 100 points,
right?
and they didn't make the playoffs.
And he wasn't good defensively.
Right.
So what? I mean, Bouch had way more points, right? To me, I don't know who you leave off, but he should have been nominated.
Way more points than the rest of the group.
Yeah.
He didn't get to 100. I think he finished
was
like
really
90,
close.
91, something like that. He was definitely in the 90s.
Yeah, I think it was mid-90s.
And I feel like no one really even talked about him either until we got to like the last like month of the season. People really started to like give him his proper dues. Because listen, me included, I think a lot of people have been critical of his mistakes defensively. They've always been costly mistakes, but he didn't have too many of those this year. He kind of just calmed his game down, and the chemistry he has with McDavid is incredible, and that's not talked about enough either.
I think sometimes a lot of those awards are based off reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And
The Selke,
the people don't do the due diligence to dig into the current landscape.
Bergeron's still getting votes for the Selke.
You know what I mean? Like it is. It's
and people don't know he doesn't play anymore. You can't vote for him.
exactly.
Remember when Ovi was like, what, he was named first team All-Star like on both wing spots or something? Like they had him like people voted for him on the wrong side or something.
Oh,
Whatever it
there's
was.
a great example why the media shouldn't be voting for some of these things.
It's like that's not his position.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. He's the left winger.
Hosted, by the way, 205 career playoff games.
Nice.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You didn't answer the question. Who's the best player you played with? You gotta name one.
Best player.
Is it too easy to say Kaner or is it or no?
Well, in hindsight, it's probably Kaner. I don't know. Man, that's a tough one. Yeah.
Why in hindsight?
I think I'm going to go with Kaner.
You are?
Yeah.
Who else was in your head like that you're
like I'm thinking about who dominated the games, prongs. Like we're not talking the entire time. I'm talking there's a time period where you're just like, whoa, when he won the MVP, that was unbelievable the way he controlled the games. Prongs. And then you think about, how good Thornton was that year that we went to semifinals, was just dominating. And, so I would say those 3 are the top for me.
What do you mean by control the game? When you say Pronger, control the game, you just had the puck on a stick the whole time, just control the. You want to slow it down, he'd slow it down. You want to speed it up, he'd speed it up.
Yes, I think that it's very seldom that, defensively was so sound, played against always the other team's top guys, shut them down, controlled our transition game, ignited our offense from the back end. It was a different time. It wasn't the D didn't go all over the place. He did it more with his brain and his awareness of where to be and when to be there, and was probably the most efficient I've ever seen anybody play the game.
He and Lidstrom.
Yep. No wasted energy.
No. Didn't over.
I mean, he made his partner go corner to corner, but
never
wasted
overextended
energy.
himself.
Exactly.
And to be honest, if you're going to play 30 minutes a night, you kind of have to play like that.
Yeah. I mean, he just got to a point in his career, I think, where he was understood where he needed to expend his energy and just was able to dominate. And one great example I have is when guys would try to soft chip to themselves or whatever. Some D are just so good at knocking pucks down.
Yeah.
Prongs was so good at it at one point, he probably could tell you this, that he would knock it forward to Pav, to the forwards.
Really?
It wasn't just knocking it down. He was knocking it. And it wasn't like it wasn't bouncing, but it was in the direction of our...
He's trying to make a play.
To make the play to transition, not just knocking it down.
Not just knock it down.
Yeah.
Lidstrom was amazing at that too.
Yeah.
He couldn't get the puck past Lidstrom on the wall. But those two guys, I probably, I mean, no doubt about it. How do you think Quenneville's impacted this Anaheim team the most?
Well, I always have said I love playing for coaches who are emotional, are engaged emotionally. And I think that his superpower is a couple of things. One, his ability to make in-game adjustments and to recognize who's going on a given night. Having the strategic awareness within a playoff to get the attention of his group. You know how you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You sit up McTavish. Genius move. Why? Guys are like, oh,
I could be next.
Look, it could be me. Oh, I gotta be on it every game.
Mm-hmm.
That's by design. That's on purpose. Also, the conversations I'm sure he's had on the side with his top players saying, you know what, you guys remind me of Kane and Taze. They were kind of like opening the door. Let me see what's in there. And they decided they're going to knock the door open.
Right.
Are you guys going to knock the door open? Or are you just going to, I can see him having those conversations on the side to get those guys to the next place. And then surrounding himself with assistant coaches that are going to be current in tactics and approach and the way that the game has trended and changed and evolving. That's part of being a smart hockey person, is to surround yourself with those people, which he has.
He's been out of the game for a couple
You know what I
years,
mean?
you know?
And that was important. And you look at what bringing Jay and what that meant to beating Edmonton. I think he had a huge part of that. And that was smart. That was bringing those right people in. So there's so many reasons why, but he's had a massive effect.
They've been the better team in the first two games against Vegas. Do you think they should have been icing in the first game? And then the no icing call with Eichel chasing.
I don't.
And Lacombe.
I don't. I've watched it several times. And what Lacombe, the error that Lacombe made was, what you have to understand is this, and I don't think players all understand the rule.
About the dot.
The rule is a race to the hash mark, not to the dot, to the hash mark area. If you draw a line from board to board, it's a race to that point, and the linesman is making a determination
at that point.
Who would get the puck.
Yeah.
So if you watch it again, Eichel was gaining on Lacombe. Okay, because they were not even at the blue line. They were not even. Eichel was behind him. By the time they get to the top of the circle, Eichel is gaining on him. By the time he gets to the hash, he's even. They still have 15 more feet to go. At that point, the linesman, in my opinion, made the correct call that without Lacombe sticking out his arm, trying to impede because he knew he was in trouble, Eichel was going to get there. That's not where the play went wrong, in my opinion. The puck then goes up the wall. Okay, Lacombe is the second layer. It doesn't matter who it is. I think it was maybe Barbashev. No, it was a Russian guy come off the wall. Dorofeyev comes off the wall, beats his check off the wall. Lacombe was the next layer. He had stopped playing.
Right.
He lets him go to the net. That's the error.
And you see right when the goal was scored, he looks at the referee and he's like, or the linesman,
As soon as the puck went off the wall, if he still keeps playing, Dorofeyev doesn't get to the net.
I think different angles show different things. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Usually, in the regular season, that I look at it a couple different ways. Normally, the tie goes to the defensive player in that particular case, and rarely do you see that particular, if it's that close, it won't get waved off. And I can tell you the linesman was hoping, he's at the time, it's such a controversy. The Anaheim bench is going crazy. The last thing the linesman wants is a goal to be scored right then and there, because now all of a sudden all eyes are on him and it's a big controversial call. But
I'll reiterate it again. I think it's very important is that it is a race to at the hash.
No, I got
but
you.
In relation to the
But if you see the camera coming from the other angle, you can make the case that it shouldn't have been icing too, or that it should have been icing. The other angle shows that Eichel was actually still behind Lacombe, and Lacombe kind of had the inside edge. He kind of stopped moving his feet though too. Like, you just gotta keep skating. He had no business.
But no, Andy, it's a race to the puck. He was not going to beat Lacombe to the puck. or he's not going to beat Eichel to the puck at that point.
Okay.
He wasn't. Why did he stick out I'll give you this. Why did he go like this and stick out his arm if he was going to beat him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Lacombe knew
Yeah,
at that
I
point he
know,
was going to
yeah.
get beat to the puck.
I can go either way with it. I've asked so many people, and like some people are saying what you're saying, some people feel opposite. So it's like it's just one.
And they don't
it
understand the
was-
rule, how it's supposed to be. It's a race to the hash mark
I get you.
and
I
the
know that.
determination who's going to get to it.
Yeah,
But the puck is a part of it. It's not just a race to the hash.
yeah.
That's where I think some people get confused.
Well, Anaheim was listen. They could have won that game. You could make the argument they should have won. I mean, and they got the split.
Yes.
And now we'll see what happens as the series shifts back to Vegas. But it would be something if Anaheim gets past Vegas, all of a sudden finds himself in the conference final. I mean, I think Colorado would take that too. I mean, it's just like, is anybody beating Colorado or Carolina? Or are we automatically headed to a Colorado-Carolina Stanley Cup final?
Oh, I hope so. That's what I had on my
Yeah.
bracket challenge. So I got a few things wrong, but I got Montreal right, and I didn't get Philly right. But yeah, I thought this would be the year for Carolina. I thought Stankoven and the kid came over from Winnipeg, Ehlers would really help them offensively, and they've been unbelievable.
Yeah, they have.
They have been
Yeah,
unbelievable.
and they're getting great goaltending too,
They are.
which obviously is huge.
It's amazing.
And I think getting through these series, they play so hard, Jamal.
Yes,
Ending these series early, I think, is giving them an opportunity to rest up too.
it's a great point. They
You know.
play the game the right way. They're all on the same page. They've built an amazing culture there.
Did you like the way Tampa Bay, John Cooper specifically, when they lost, it's like talking about the hockey gods and almost like, I just feel like Tampa, something's missing on their resume. I think when we look back on it, unless they win one next year or the year after, I just can't put them in the same category as Pittsburgh and Chicago, even LA, who won 2 Stanley Cups. They won in a weird environment, bubble. Then the 56-game season, they played an Eastern Conference opponent in the Stanley Cup final. Some buildings had fans, some buildings didn't. I just wanted to see Tampa Bay win one in a traditional setting. They've lost 4 years in a row in the first round. And the attitude is almost like, I don't know how we lost, you know what I mean? But it's like the goalie comes out and is like, no, I'm sick of hearing about the hockey guys and that we won the game but lost the score. Like, no. That Montreal team, I mean, they're good and everything, but they had 9 shots on goal. They had no business losing that game. It's crazy to me that they didn't win that game. And then you see Montreal, maybe a little bit of a hangover off the first round, but they didn't look ready to play in game 2 of round 2, right? So I don't know. How do you look at Tampa?
Well, a couple things to unpack there. I think that I would agree with Vasilevsky's opinion.
It's frustration, yeah.
I think that is a very fair thing when your team.
Like, where's the best one? How come you guys aren't scoring for me?
Right,
You
that's
know?
exactly it. I think he was pointing it right back at his team and saying, you know
Kucherov.
what, I don't know what else you want me to do, but
Right.
and that's okay. I think that's healthy. That friction is going to help them grow, and I think in a lot of ways too, what Coop says in the media is a little bit
Sure.
different than he might feel sometimes. I think he's just trying to take some pressure off the group, and then internally, he knows exactly what went wrong,
Right.
and he'll address it with the GM, and they will have those
Because
conversations.
sometimes I look at it, it's not hockey gods. I agree. Sometimes maybe it'll even things up, but it comes down to execution.
Yes, and I think that some guys underperformed when they needed to have them perform, and so I think that he's saving them a little bit by not calling them out.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the frustration from Vasilevsky. I think that's healthy, and I think that it's going to help them get reset and realize that that's not an excuse, and they won't be able to use that excuse again, not publicly or not even, certainly not privately.
Did you like Tocchet getting in the face of Trevor Zegras last night?
Yeah, I mean, why is everyone so like? That's called coaching.
Yeah. Well, you don't see too many. You just don't see it as much as we used to.
Well, why not?
I agree.
Why not? It's okay to get in someone's face,
Like,
and
especially, it looked like he said something to him, and then Zegras had a comeback.
Yeah.
I think that's when he's like,
and he's like, no.
like, shut the fuck. Like, no, I'm telling you, right? I'm the coach.
Yes, and the idea was this: listen, I'll deal with the the referees. You go play. That's distracting you from doing what you need to do. And it's okay for the coach to give you a reminder and give you a reset. That's healthy. And so
And then he goes out and scores.
So he's been playing extremely well. Talk has done a great job getting his career back on track. And I always tell young players and people, you know how much I know that if the coach likes you, how much you play. Like, stop reading into how he's communicating.
Right.
Did he say hi? Didn't ask me how my day was.
Right. Didn't ask me about my family.
He's asking him, well, how about this? He doesn't play him. He talks to him all the time.
Right.
He's really nice to him. Which way did you want it? Like,
Right.
wouldn't you rather play 22 minutes a night? Yeah, he talks to me. I play 7 minutes. Like, I'd rather he didn't talk to me.
I know. How about Toronto getting the first overall pick, Jamal? I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, it's funny how those always go to Chicago,
Toronto,
Pittsburgh,
and San Jose. When Celebrini is the first overall, when he's got roots there, I want to believe that it's like fixed. I just don't see how the NHL would ever do that.
You can't do it, but
No.
it does become suspicious.
It's suspicious
Because but think about it, when you've got Ernst & Young, like, they can't be messing with
well, and the
any of
league
that.
can't either. I mean, guys, people would go to jail over that if you're fixing a lottery like that, and you're putting a player's life at stake. Who, I mean, not his life, but his career at stake. I mean, basically forcing them to go to a specific team too.
Right. I mean, it's, I don't think it's fixed, but it sure is interesting how that works. I'd be really upset if I'm Vancouver, really upset if I'm Seattle. A lot of those teams that,
Well, and San Jose gets all the way up to number 2. Now you're close with that team.
Yeah.
They've got obviously some talent up front. They're lacking some, big time players on the back end. So do you automatically go defense? And if they do, do you just take the best player at number 2? Keep building.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
There's smarter guys. To me, you will have massive regret if you don't take the best player.
If he ends up being like a Hall of Fame player and the best defenseman available ends up being a guy who may play 1,000 games, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
This is what I would do. I would take the best player, which is the winger. Okay.
Stemberg.
Okay. And then maybe you trade Eklund and get yourself.
There's other ways to get a defenseman.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you package a prospect and a really good young guy that you only have 4 spots for top wingers.
Right.
Now you have 1 less spot.
Yeah.
Go get a
package a player and a second round pick or something too. You can do. There's a lot of different ways you can play with it.
Yes.
But the idea, I'm hearing people locally saying, "Hey, can you trade 11 and 15 to get up to number 2?" You're not going to have the number 2 pick and trade out of the top 10, even if it gets you 2 picks.
No.
Unless you're attaching something to
and
it.
And from all the prognosticators and hearing them, there is a significant drop off
when you get out of
after
the top
4
10.
or 5.
Oh, yeah, I've heard the top 10 got really good. So I think the Blues, I'm sure they would love to find a way to get into the top 10.
Well,
get a guy, and they have some pieces to play with that maybe they can.
Yeah, but I think that it would be different if they had 5 or 6 or the pick number 5 or 6
or 8 or something,
and a 13. Then you can move.
I said that this morning. If they had 8 and 11, then we're talking.
Then you
different
could.
stories.
I think it's a little different that you're in the team. You know what I mean? Like where they are. They think that even like you probably move if you're at 5. If you're at 5 and 13, you could probably move up to someone would listen.
Yeah. Because then that team's not looking, they're not dropping out of the top 5 either.
Right.
This is a different situation. And listen, I know San Jose has a lot of great things going for them. They had a good season, and you got Celebrini, you got Will Smith, and you got all the, but you can't deviate too far away from the league. Just keep building your roster with as many good players as possible. I mean, you look at Anaheim right now and what they've done, and all these teams from Colorado on down, they're all built with elite players who are taken in the top 5.
Yeah, I think that the measuring stick for San Jose to me is Anaheim, and the formula that they've used to have success, I think, is right there. The blueprint is there in regard to, insulating, spending some money to go get some veterans. The defense will look different. It will look different next year by like 3 of the 6. I think there's opportunity. You look around the league, you look at guys like Fox, what's going on with him and the Rangers. Like, there's other guys like that out there in the market, in my opinion. I'm not in the business of knowing this, but you've got your list, right? Let's say they're looking at 6 guys and like, let's see if we can figure out a way to
Those
pull.
conversations already were had around the trade deadline.
Yes.
Everything. You know, a lot
You're
of times
revisiting
the
your
trades that are made in the summer were already like almost put together during the season last year, right?
Yes.
Or this past season.
That'll be interesting. I think that getting the second pick changes things again. Like, look, like I'm telling you what, like,
Would you? I mean, it's just as good as having the first pick, to be honest with you, unless you have a McDavid or something like that, like a Crosby or whatever. But like this year, where it's a little more even,
I always say I'd rather pick second when it's this even.
When
Just
it's
think about
this
it.
even.
You'd be like, oh,
if it's McDavid,
because you make the mistake. One's going to be better than the other, right?
Right.
Eventually.
right?
One in 15 years, we're going to say, you should have taken this guy.
Yeah,
So let's say the Leafs take Stenberg and then the McKenna drops to 2. Well, if McKenna outperforms the first pick because he's, you know what I mean? Like,
remember when
you can never be wrong.
Everyone was surprised a few years back when Anaheim done this a couple times. They took Carlson over Fantilli, and people were like, "What? I can't believe that they just did that." It's a great call.
Yes.
Beckett Seneca, his reaction when he was taken 3rd overall, he couldn't believe it. Like no one expected him to go number 3. And they hit on him too.
You might be my new one of my new favorites.
I'm watching this kid like toe drag through the neutral zone when we were in Anaheim. Yeah, he kind of got a little bit quiet in that first round, but he scores a big goal.
He plays with an edge too. Plays with an edge in today's game.
Yeah,
He plays with a little bit.
my
of
favorite
style.
player on that team is Gauthier, and the fact that they got him, who was taken 5th overall, and that Philly's going to regret that forever. I know they sounded big, bad, and tough. We're the Philadelphia Flyers. We're not going to put up with this, and we have our way. He wanted to sign, and I know the stance that he took probably wasn't right either. Either bring me to the NHL now, or I'm not ever going to sign. And I don't know if they didn't believe him or they were going to call his bluff or whatever, but they lost a generational player.
40 goals this year, right?
Yeah. And he could score 50.
Yes.
He's unbelievable. His shot is unbelievable, but he plays close to the net too. Like he's good.
Yeah.
Who we have winning this series now? Where are we at here?
All right. I got obviously Carolina. Run through them and I'll tell you.
Yeah. We got to get to them because sometimes it's easy to forget. Obviously, here we go. All right, so Vegas and Anaheim.
I got Anaheim.
Montreal and Buffalo.
Buffalo.
You got Carolina over Philadelphia. The Colorado-Minnesota. So Minnesota's missing some key pieces.
Yes. No one bigger than Eriksson Ek.
So good. You talk about underrated players.
That's a great point. He's so heavy. He plays with an edge to him. He can play up to against the best players.
Big.
He's big. He plays with in today's NHL. He plays with
They don't have Brodin
the
either.
edge. Yeah, they're. It's really unfortunate because I think that they really would have given Colorado.
Can they beat Colorado
some
without
fits.
those guys?
No.
Brodin's skating, but Eriksson Ek, I think he's already going to be ruled out for Game 3.
I don't think they can. I think maybe they push it to 5. Lucky if they push it to 6. No
Mhm.
chance they win the series.
Before I let you go, Steve Ott, I mean, he's got this team rolling down in Springfield. I love his post-game locker room speeches. Yeah, they're hilarious. If you know Otter, it's just great to see him in that position to be able to deliver those and be the guy down there. But they're getting unbelievable goaltending from this Romanov, who played some games in San Jose a few years back. And he may find himself back into the National Hockey League too, but it's a great experience for the young guys, right? Linsky didn't play last night. He's been hurt, but Stenberg's in the lineup. They got some other guys, you know. This is great for the organization. I know they missed the playoffs, but don't you think it's pretty good for the organization?
Oh, it's part of their growth, right? It is learning how to win at every level, and I think it's those lessons and those things in those situations that they're playing in and rising to the occasion will transfer to the National Hockey League. So, but I agree with you. I give a lot of credit to, Otter and taking advantage of the opportunity, having the stones to take a step back, if you will, to be the guy to achieve his ultimate goal of being a head coach eventually. And I think that he's proving that he can do it. And I think that, you probably, if he was being honest, he probably wasn't sure. You're just not sure, like if your way is gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that he's getting that immediate feedback that he's really good at it.
Yeah.
And having this kind of a success is going to get the attention of not just the Blues, but other
Rest of the
teams
league.
around the whole league
Yeah.
about where are we going next with our head coach.
And he hasn't had a full season yet. Maybe a team would try to jump the gun and just get him in here now and get him in their organization now. I don't know if they would do that. Is it almost easier to come in during the season versus
For him,
Yeah.
no, I think it's harder
Okay.
because you can't. The practice time is limited. If you want to make changes in regard to the system, it makes it harder.
Yeah.
It's easier to get their attention,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that systematically it's more difficult. But I think he's running on fumes and his energy and his passion, and it's he's that perfect blend of care and honesty.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
He still has a player's mentality, and you can see how he connects with players. Last thing for you, what'd you think of the Toronto John Chaika press conference and Matt Sundin?
wow, Steve, was it Steve Simmons?
What was
Just obliterated.
his reputation when you were there? People like him?
The reporter?
Yeah, Steve Simmons.
He was always confrontational and
I-
abrasive, but
yeah, he's always been like that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't listen. I think that the way he went about it was a little bit probably interesting, to say the least.
A little
Probably
rude,
a little
right?
bit rude, a little bit unprofessional in the
Mhm.
way that he
Yeah.
spoke. And
For a veteran guy, it's just like there's a way. Listen, I know sometimes guys think they're asking hard questions, but they just sound like a good disgruntled fan. You sound like a fan when you ask that type of question. I'd rather hear a hard question. Give them a hard question. There were really no hockey questions that were asked either. Like, where are the hockey questions and where are the hard questions versus coming in and basically making a statement and sabotaging the press conference and turning it into a spectacle,
Yeah, I think that approach probably it was made for interesting social media.
Got him a
and
lot of attention.
It got a lot of attention, but yeah, I think that let's put it this way: the Leafs went off the radar, and all eyeballs are going to be on them. And if this either this is going to be an amazing transition and turnaround, or it's going to be a colossal error.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I said they're either going to look like geniuses for hiring John Chaika, or they're going to look like the whatever word you want to use. That's the exact opposite of a genius.
The only thing I'll add is this: I think that
But they went off the beaten path. I kind of give them credit for that. Like they identified who they wanted, and they stuck to it, knowing it was already generating a ton of criticism throughout that market. I mean, people were just killing the idea of hiring him, and they still followed through with it.
what people aren't putting enough attention on, what I would have asked if I was a reporter in that situation, is like, who are your earmark? Who are you going to insulate and build out your scouting team, your management team? Because as smart as a hockey person as Sundin is, he hasn't been in it, right? It's going to take him 18 months to wrap his head around the minor league, all the minor league players, all the prospects, all the NHL players,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, I'm not saying he's not aware,
No, he's gonna have to bring some
But
people in
that are right in it,
already in the
that are already
mix.
in it, and then know who's available. I know this guy, they're not happy with him. We
Right.
might be able to get, that takes
Yeah,
a year,
yeah,
2 years
yeah.
of conversations of
And Matt
understanding,
doesn't have that either.
right? And now
And give Matt Sundin a title, advisor. If he's gonna be there every day and he's gonna be involved in decision making, can we give him a title?
I think he's a special advisor to
It sounds to me like you just come and have coffee and like kick your feet up and talk to the coach before practice whenever you want. You just kind of come and go when you want. When you're in a I give him a title. It sounds like he's going to have a important role with hockey ops.
Yeah.
I would have given him a more significant. Make him president of hockey or whatever you want to call it.
senior vice president,
Senior
whatever,
vice- senior vice
senior
president.
president of hockey operations.
And like it's still unclear. Like they didn't know who should answer questions. It was like it was a tough one.
What I thought was weird too is when Chaika said, well, they asked who's going to make the final decision, and he said, well, I'm going to talk to
collaborate.
I'm going to clap. He goes, but who's going to make the final decision? Well, if Matt doesn't want to do something, then we're not going to do it. That's what he said. So then that means he's in charge.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's a little bit strange.
Definitely was strange. There's no question about that. All right. Thanks for coming in, Joel.
Of course.
Tell us about Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Well, first of all, I don't even have to read the script. I can tell you this. Through experience, I'm an idiot. Drove to the construction site several times.
Yes.
Blew out a tire. Didn't learn my lessons. Went back. blew out another tire, blew out 3 tires. Finally, I realized I can't go down the street on a construction area. But you know what the best part was? I brought my car in. They brought it up. They identified what the issue was. One of the tires they could patch, other tire they had to replace. Second one, and then finally, but they didn't give me in. I said, let's stay within a budget. Let's not go crazy. They said, you don't need this tire. We're going to ship the tire over here. And they did it quickly. They got the tire in, put it up, brand new, fixed, and everything else, and making sure that they took care of me. And it doesn't matter. I know you like to drive over curves. Your wife just doesn't care, just keeps turning into things, rips tires off and rims and everything else. And whenever there's an issue, doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, or EV, they'll get your car in, up, fixed, and out the same day. They always have deals, locally own over 45 locations in the St. Louis area. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
All right. And who puts the eye on spa?
Well, dude, you're a local master spas dealer with 2 locations. It's Spas and More. I didn't even know this. You did a side deal while I brought them to the table. You think you would freaking invite me over to take a look
It
at
hasn't
these?
come yet.
Okay, well,
It's coming.
you're still keeping things in, and apparently Cam got one too. Mike Leahy's the owner, Spas and More. Spas and More is an American hot tub and swim spa manufacturer located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They are the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. Also got, and I'm getting one, a Michael Phelps chili goat tub. Can't wait. Angie has.
Is that the cold tub?
Yes.
So how do you say? Is that run on electricity or no?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. And it filters itself and keeps it clean.
You
And the
want
idea
those.
is if you're in a climate that can get lower than 32, it technically has a heater in it.
So it
to
won't
heat it up to
freeze.
48 so it doesn't freeze.
Are you keeping that outside?
It'll be outside. All 3 will be outside. Hot tub, cold tub, sauna. I'm doing an old school sauna, which is like the Swedish, the Finnish type.
So rain and snow won't mess with it?
It'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so excited. Going to happen here in the next few months. Spas and More offers high quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for all of your health, wellness, and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with a master spa from
Wait.
Spas and More. Spas and More, located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the
in spa. So what's the order you go? You go sauna, hot tub, hot tub, sauna. What do you do?
So you do contrast.
Mm-hmm.
You leave the hot tubs just technically for fun.
It is?
Yeah,
It's not for recovery or
no.
injury. Your muscles are tight.
It'll help a little bit, but yeah,
Really?
sure, it has those benefits, yes. But that's not, if you're doing it for health and wellness, in my opinion, it's the sauna and the cold tub. Contrast, back and forth, 4 or 5 times, finishing cold.
What do you mean? 4 or
Contrast.
5 times and like
Contrast.
in one time?
You do 3 or 4 minutes in the cold tub.
Oh,
Then you go in the hot tub for 10, 15 minutes. Then you go back to the cold tub. Then you go back to the hot tub.
that's a long.
the
That's like
the
3 hour
sauna.
commitment.
No, it take you about an hour.
Okay.
And then you go back to you finish cold, and then you're done.
How many days a week?
I'm going to be doing this every day.
7 days.
You be a new person.
What will it do to you?
I'll send you all the information on how it improves your health. It's
Okay.
unbelievable.
I think Angie's coming in the studio.
Yeah, next week.
Next week. Okay.
Next week.
So we'll talk with her too. I got a lot of questions.
It's unbelievable. I can't wait. And you have athletes, so
I
it's
know.
important.
I
I'm
know.
telling you need the cold tub.
All right. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. We appreciate their support always. Blue Note Roofing, call David Novak. You see the number behind me, 314-920-5713. And Easy Tiger Cannabis, baby. EasyTigerAZ.com. Check out the website and do it today. In Arizona, soon to be nationwide. Great to see you as always.
It's your buddy. And by the way,
Yeah.
you're a good putter.
Thank you.
Wow, I was impressed.
That's about
We'll
it.
just leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Jammer actually has really improved his golf game. That's when you know he's retired.
That's right.
I'm not retired. He is. Although he's kind of still working too, though.
Yeah, I gotta
See,
work.
You're working.
Gotta work. It's fun.
But like, I don't know why you didn't play all the time when you were playing.
Well,
Didn't you play in the summers like everybody else?
no, because when the girls were born, you get focused on what they're doing in their
It's a
activities. And to
commitment.
get better at golf, you need to play at least twice a week.
Not once every 2 years? Or...
No. So,
Okay.
That's just my mind.
Yeah.
That if I can't get better, then I'm not going to,
I know.
I don't want to
No,
just
you've
play.
gotten way better. I was like, because I did not think you were very good. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll play with Jamal. It's like, last time I saw him play, he was like good, but like not like you are now.
Yeah.
So you really improved. So I'll give you
Yeah.
credit.
I can't wait.
So next time you see me play, well, you'll be saying that, like, wow, you really gotten better.
I'm telling you, it's just
Okay.
going to take you about 8 months.
Okay. I'm with you, man. Okay. All the best, man.
And then you got to come over to
I know. I'm
the,
going to.
play, and then you got to come over to the house. And,
Yeah.
and
When are
take
you
the
moving in?
simulator. I don't know. I don't have a date yet.
Okay. It takes time.
Hopefully before July
Hopefully
15th.
soon.
Before July 15th would be nice.
Okay. All right, Jamal. Thanks for coming in.
Okay,
Enjoy
buddy.
the playoffs, everybody. Thanks for tuning into Hockey Sense as always.